morning, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching, it is appreciated as always. There may be few lingering people in the Red Wall in the north that think when Andy Burnham takes over as leader of the Labour Party, they may want to consider voting Labour. I despair. I've seen this clip today. This is from the devolved assembly in Wales. And it's the Labour Party debating the fact that there's too many white people on a particular council locally in Wales. This is the Labour Party. They are not for the working class. In fact, if they're white, they'd rather diversity take your jobs. They'd rather give your jobs to infinite migrants from India and the subcontinent and the Middle East and the Third World. They would rather do that than make sure there's enough jobs for the native white British people. There are obviously some exceptions to the white British rule, but we are a predominantly white country currently. So without further ado, we'll play the first clip.
With many others, I'm sure, were dismayed to see the Vale of Glamorgan Council announce a new cabinet which consisted of 7 white men.
Oh no. Perish the thought. White men. Sorry, let's be specific. White middle class men.
Following the local council elections.
It is disappointing to see that there will be one council in Wales where diversity is at a pretty low ebb. It is the only local authority in Wales where that will be the case.
That's what they're concerned about, making sure they've got diversity quotas. If you think this is specific to the devolved assembly, you are mistaken. If you think this is specific to the Labour Party in Britain, you are mistaken. If you think this is just the Western world, you're probably right. You will not see any other nation outside of the white majority Western world lament that they've not got enough minorities in positions of power. Remember, Humza Yousaf from Scotland is the deeply racist ex-First Minister, thinks there's too many white people in positions of power in Scotland. This is specific, and it's always a virtue signal. I'm going to play the second clip now. This is from the 1950s, so within the lifetime of many people who are still with us. This is what they refer to as white privilege. This is the white privilege of the working class.
This is a part of Liverpool, a city of nearly 1 million inhabitants, and one of the biggest ports and shipbuilding areas in the world. During the war, it was a target for air raids, which laid waste whole areas.
Remember that. The people that survived World War II had to rebuild Britain pretty much from scratch. Outside of London, Liverpool was the biggest target for the Blitz in the 1940s. Remember that. Remember, this is the white privilege that they talk about. When Britain stood alone against tyranny on the continent, eventually joined by the Allies, this is the white privilege.
But now the City Council are rebuilding fast. But one of the most interesting achievements of the council was to establish, over 100 years ago, public wash houses where, even now, thousands of Liverpool housewives bring their weekly wash. Some of them bring as much as £60 of washing. And though these old prams are the most popular means of transport, you'll often see the older ones carrying the bundles on their head.
Just look at that and just think about that for a moment, alright. How many people of my generation, or the generation below me, understand that white privilege is this lady walking to a public wash house in the 1950s while her husband is probably doing manual labour in a factory or down in the pits or the mines? And this is your white privilege. This is what they think everybody should be entitled to. It's nothing to write home about. In fact, the ruling elites, the Labour Party, they don't even think that these people are worth any less than nothing. That is the value of these people to Labour, your Labour government, our Labour government. This is what they mock. This is the type of person that Emily Thornberry will tweet about if she flies an England flag. It's disgusting and it's an outrage. And it sickens me to my fucking core.
They were started thanks to the work of Kitty Wilkinson, a labourer's wife who used to lend her washtub to her neighbours. During a cholera epidemic in the overcrowded town, she persuaded the council that the spread of the disease could be stopped if the people could only wash their clothes and themselves properly.
Basic hygiene that stopped the spread of disease like cholera, that was only eradicated less than 100 years ago in the United Kingdom through public washhouses. The fact that people didn't have access to laundry facilities at home. These are modern inventions. These are literally very modern. My parents had a washing machine, but their parents didn't even have inside toilets. This is the white privilege that they always harp on about. Remember your roots. I am proud of these people. I am proud that I come from this stock. Alright? There's nothing wrong with it at all. Anybody that says different needs to pull the stick out of their arse and remember that.
So, not long after, the first public washhouse was opened, and this is how it looked. Nowadays, the 13 public washhouses are not so very different, except that the washing is mostly done in these huge machines. Another difference is that whereas the women used to start queuing up with their washing before daybreak, nowadays there's an efficient booking system, and they all know exactly when their turn is and what machine to use. After booking in, it's a race against time to get started as soon as possible, because they have exactly an hour to get the washing done. These women certainly know how to get through the most work in the shortest time. When the machine has been loaded, an attendant starts it for them and pours in the detergent. Each wash has to be boiled for 20 minutes because the main purpose of this type of wash is to ensure a high standard of hygiene. At the end of the wash, the attendant switches the machine off. Meanwhile, the women have probably been washing other garments in the hand stalls, and now it's time to transfer everything to the hydro extractors, which are rather like giant spin dryers. When loaded properly, they go round at 1,200 revolutions a minute.
This is the thing that people also forget. People can call the working class of Britain gammons, far right, scum. What often looks back at this point, it really doesn't matter. When I see videos and I see clips of migrants and dinghy divers and people from the third world dumping rubbish, litter, in public parks, in public walkways, and even in the sea and in the rivers, they treat our country the way that they treat their country. They treat our country like it is a third world shithole. These working class ladies from the 1940s, 50s, and 60s had a sense of community, they had a sense of pride, they had a sense of politeness and manners. These are British, these are the British values, not tolerance, respect, and diversity. No, politeness, kindness, doing things for your neighbour, keeping your property spick and span, making sure your children's clothes are properly pressed, ready to go to church or ready to go to school. These are things that other countries do not have. There is no such thing as a universal person. According to the Labour Party, according to the Labour government, there is such a thing. This is a myth. These people are my people. I will always be of these people. If they ever become a billionaire or a millionaire, I will keep respect for these people. These people are why I do what I do and will continue to do what I do. These are the people you need to remember. These are the people we should all respect and honour. Without these people, we would not be here. Remember that. Be proud of that fact.
And when they come out, the clothes are over 50% dry. Often, blankets and even carpets go through this process because, as you see, it's not just clothes that go into the wash. From the hydros, everything is transferred to the drying racks, which are then pushed into hot air tunnels where the drying process is completed. After all that hard work, it's time to relax. The same women come at the same time every week, and there's plenty to talk about. There are cafes attached to the washhouses as well, so many women almost regard the washhouse as their club, and they don't have to worry about their children who are looked after in the creche upstairs by experienced attendants.
Again, no need for childcare, built-in facilities, and these women didn't need to work because back in those days, only 50 or 60 years ago, you could afford to run a house on a single salary, so a single wage, and you weren't paid into a bank account, you were paid into a pay packet in a little brown envelope with all your money in. And the husbands used to come home and they used to give all of that money to their partners, to their spouses, for the kids and for the household. And maybe if there was a couple of pence left, they'd be given a bit of money back by the other half so they could go down the pub with their mates from the pits or the mines and to have a pint. This is working class Britain, and it should be the same to this day. But now you've got both people out at work, breaking their backs for a faceless corporation. Most people don't have kids anymore because they can't afford it. So rather than making the conditions suitable for people to have children, tax incentives, making sure that people don't need childcare, because no one's a better childcarer for your own kids than yourself. What did they do? Stupid gimmicks like breakfast clubs. So the state wants responsibility to feed your kids, educate your kids, make sure they think the right things, make sure they turn their children against the adults, and then they turn men and women against each other. Why? Because it clears the way for infinity migrants to substitute. Again, that's just my thoughts on the matter.
And so, 2 hours after they arrived, and washing and ironing is completed, wash day is over for the housewife of Liverpool. They set out for home, carrying their bundles in the most convenient way. But stop! Have you left anything? This little lot is just 1 week's collection of articles the women have forgotten to take away with them. The Liverpool Corporation are opening new wash houses too. This one will cater for hundreds of customers when it's finished. The machines will be more up to date, and the general modernisation throughout will make wash day even easier. But even so, there are still a few people who don't believe that any change is a change for the better.
I agree. Change always, change for the sake of change is not always a good thing. People mistake change for progress. You look at this clip and then look at your own life, alright? Is it better? Yes, it may be better to have an in-house toilet. It may be better that you've got the convenience of a washing machine and tumble dryer at home. Those may be pluses, but what do you lose? You lose the sense of community that you have. These women, this was their social interaction. These were positives, alright? Now what have you got? You've got all of these online personalities and you've got all of these women and men. And they're always posting on social media to connect with people. They're not doing the physical connection, the interaction with people in everyday scenarios anymore. It just doesn't happen the same way. Progress and change are different. You should progress to something, and that isn't progressivism. I look at this and I feel nostalgic. I think that this may have been a better way to be.
This lady, for example, still thinks the old ways are best. She's washing in exactly the same way that they used to in the days when the wash houses were first opened. She's using a dolly tub with plenty of hot water, and the stick she's got there to beat the clothes is called a posser. They're certainly taking some punishment, but that's the way she likes to do it. However, the hardest way isn't necessarily the best way, and although when the wash houses are modernised, all the dolly tubs and possers will be scrapped, in some ways it'll be a pity when those great clouds of steam no longer rise from the hand stalls and the old brigade have to conform to the march of progress.
Remember that last phrase. Eventually, you will have to conform to the march of progress. And this is from the BFI 60 years ago, over 60 years ago. Eventually, cash won't be a thing anymore. You will not be able to use physical cash because you can fight the change for so long and then eventually it will take you over. When I look at these videos, it makes me feel humbled and it makes me feel nostalgic for the way that things were. Not every change will always be for the positive. Labour do not know anything about the working class. The debates in Parliament are shameful because they don't discuss real life issues. It's all about taking more control from the individual and giving it to them. These are just my thoughts. Now, if you like this video and you think I'm onto something with this, that sometimes the old ways are the better ways, let me know. Let me know, do you still go to the pub and have a pint with your buddies? Or with these things, these little luxuries that we used to have, are they becoming things of the past? I appreciate your time as always. Like and subscribe, do all that good stuff. If you are working class and you actually care about Britain, do not vote Labour. They will never put your interest before the needs of the diversity. Have a good day and thank you for watching.